Well, if you haven't been outside yet, after a relatively mild week and some, at least for most of the state, a touch of spring, we've had a significant reversal, and that's the theme in our forecast here. We're going to have a period of, have to call it late winter like weather, and for the foreseeable future. Nice shot here to start with. There was a fairly large outbreak of severe weather here Tuesday evening, and including one of the most numerous hail report evenings I remember in some time. But we did have 2-inch plus hail reported at several locations in Michigan. This particular image here was from Midland, but there were several reports of very large hail. Fortunately, there's not much out there. Wasn't much crop development yet, but it was a very large, widespread area of the upper Midwest, including Michigan, was hit by hail Tuesday evening. We had some rain again overnight last night, and I'll get to the totals here. Looking at the rear view mirror, last night's totals are not reflected here on the right, but this goes through yesterday. We had, generally last night's rainfall was significantly lighter, and we've had, depending on location, anywhere from less than a tenth of an inch in some spots. You can see some portions of the Saginaw Valley over into the Thumb that have been missed by the convection here the last couple of days. But there are other areas that have picked up almost 2 inches or even more than 2 inches of rain. But it depended on location here on the right-hand side. So we've got a wide range, a range of soil moisture conditions as well. Obviously, the areas that got the rain are still near saturation or at saturation, while we've done a little bit better. One other thing I would note here, and as we shift over to the left side to look at mean temperature departures, it was a milder than normal week across all of the state and the region, 2 to 4 degrees. We had our first significant accumulation of degree days, really, of the season. But for many of the days, especially the last couple, we have been picking up at least a tenth of an inch of potential evapotranspiration, which are the highest rates we've seen so far this year. So you could see it on coarse textured soils that actually we have drained, and we had a little bit of water use as the vegetation now starts to really take hold. That's been the big difference in the last week. We've seen a major green up in many areas of the state. It's still in the northern part of the state. We still have a ways to go, but that seasonal change is occurring. One aspect of that, looking at degree days here, because of this is an interesting one. This is mainly as a result of suppressed or daytime temperatures. We have had consistently mild nighttime temperatures, but if we look at degree day accumulation here back to the beginning of March, much of the state is still a couple days behind climatology, or typically where we are this point of the year. When this one again is a day out, we'll add another day from yesterday, a warmer than normal day for most areas of the state, so it'll be close to normal. But you can see, with the exception of eastern portions of upper Michigan, that most of the state is still, again, a couple days behind where they should be. And given the forecast, that trend, or that certainly will continue here for at least for the next week or so. Our soil temperatures, because of the recent warm weather, have warmed up considerably and now range from the 30s in the far north, where we still have significant snow cover in portions of upper Michigan. But you can see here down across central and especially southwestern portions of lower Michigan, where now these are mean 2-inch bare soil temperatures from the EnviroWeather Network. We are well into the 50s, and some spots during the daytime have been significantly better than that. So that's the warmest we've seen soils this time of the year. But again, given the forecast, there will be a reversal in that in that trend. Well, looking ahead here, we'll start with where we are right now. The weather system that brought the rain last night is off here to our east, New York, and up into far eastern Ontario, and it's spreading a large Canadian origin air masses here in back of it. There are still some showers. This is the latest recent radar pick down here on the lower left. This is mostly rain, but there is now a number of locations are reporting either snow or mixed rain and snow as this much colder air mass moves in. And again, if you haven't been outside since yesterday, you're in for quite a store of a change. Temperatures currently range from below freezing in the far northern parts of the state to, we still got some low and mid 40s down in the far southeastern part of the lower peninsula. But at best, we will see near steady temperatures today, almost like a winter type situation with the cold air moving in. And then this evening, we will see freezing temperatures over most of the state into the 20s or mid and upper 20s for lows as the cold air reinforces. This is part of this center of this air mass is up here in Saskatchewan. That will be with us here for the next 2 days. So big change in terms of temperature. We will likely, the northern parts of the state will not get out of the 30s here for the next couple of days. And some of the southern parts of the state probably above 40, but it will be at least 10 degrees below normal for this time of the year. Well, where are we headed? This is a forecast map for tomorrow morning. You can see the big Canadian origin air mass here moves down to the central Great Plains. We're still in this return flow around the low pressure out over the northeastern part of the U.S. over New England, bringing in more reinforcing cool air. We will see a chance with this in terms of precipitation, still some lingering showers today. Again, depending on where you are, it could be either frozen or liquid. In the northern part of the state, there'll actually be a little bit of lake enhancement given how cold the air is and how warm the water is still above freezing on the Great Lakes. But if any snowfall would be probably whitening in the ground or maybe an inch at best. And again, that would be limited to the far northern parts of the state. But still, given where we've been the last week, a big change. Out here to our west, the next weather system of consequence is starting to form here. If we went into Saturday here, we would see more, but we expect to see a big area of low pressure form out over the southern Great Plains by Saturday, and then that will move up into the Great Lakes region by overnight Sunday. Easter Sunday right now looks like a pretty lousy day weather-wise, but this area of low pressure will be strengthening as it comes, and we will see mostly at the beginning, we'll see rain overspread the state from southwest to northeast overnight Saturday into Easter Sunday and continue during most of the day on Sunday. Temperatures will be a little bit warmer by then than they will be over the next day or two, 40s north and maybe up to near 50 in the south, but it will be, again, a pretty wet day. Now, it's still a little bit early out or far out for this particular forecast, but there's another punch of cold air coming behind the next system here on Sunday, Monday, and it's likely at this point that somebody in the region will see significant snowfall with this. Right now, if I had to make a guess, I would say portions of the UP, central and western part, probably would pick up actually not only plowable or shovelable, but significant. There will also be strong winds behind this next system. And during Easter Sunday, we will see winds gradually pick up out of the north and northeast and strengthen and then and continue on into tomorrow. And I did forget to mention that aspect here today as well. It's in many areas it's relatively calm this morning, but given strong winds aloft today, Thursday, we will also see very strong winds, 20 to 30 miles per hour out of the west and northwest, especially this afternoon, and even some gusts up near 40. I apologize for forgetting that earlier for the short term, but then we also have strong winds to deal with, again, with this next weather system on next Sunday and Monday. So keep an eye on that. Again, it is much more like late winter than early spring in terms of the season. And that sets the stage really all of next week. We are looking at significantly cooler and unsettled type of weather pattern with a daily chance for precipitation. Most of the precipitation over the next week here will be in the system that comes Easter Sunday and then into Monday. You can see about a half to 3/4 of an inch of water equivalent is forecast for most of the state. Other than that, today, trace or a couple hundredths of an inch will be best. Friday and Saturday should be dry over most of the state, and then again, the precip moves in Sunday, Monday. But after that into the next week, I think we are definitely in a cooler and drier the normal pattern here, looking at the medium range. And on the left here is the forecast jet stream flow for the 14th through the 18th. The 6 to 10 day and 8 to 14 day, the medium range outlooks are almost identical to one another. And we rarely see this is actually a pretty pronounced upper air pattern. You can see a big trough here, Hudson Bay over the central and eastern parts of the U.S. And that's just basically a conveyor belt to bring air masses from the high latitudes down into the lower 48 with colder than normal temperatures. And you can see the forecast here reflects that very, very well. On the upper right here, these are mean temperature forecasts. The numbers on this, if you can see this, it's a little difficult. It's dark to see, but virtually all in the below normal category. It usually take a distribution of these temperatures and assume normally we have about a third of the frequency in the below normal, third in the above, and then a third in the middle and the near normal. This one basically says we've got virtually everything in the below normal box. So very, very high probability of this weather pattern for all of next week, and actually even maybe beyond that. I was looking beyond this into late April, and I'm starting to wonder how long this will be with us. Given we are in the spring with a transitional period, we typically don't see these jet stream patterns last very long, but this one, I think it's at least there for 1 to 2 weeks. Now, in terms of precip, was just as important. It's likely after the major precipitation again late in the weekend and early next week. But besides that, it should be probably trend towards drier than normal. The other factor here, looking again, thinking about field work, are with cold temperatures, generally in the upper 30s to mid 40s, upper 40s type of daytime temperatures. Our potential evapotranspiration rates are going to be very, very low. So don't expect to see much in the way of drying here over the next 1 to 2 weeks. But generally, again, colder and somewhat drier, normal to below normal precipitation totals. Our long lead outlooks, in contrast to that, are still calling. We've talked about this before, warmer and wetter than normal. But right now, I don't see a pattern change, at least for the next 2 weeks probably, and maybe longer than that. We'll have to keep an eye on that. So summarizing here, big weather change, again, in progress right now. Windy and colder today with a few scattered showers, and then cool and dry for the next 2 days, Friday and Saturday. And then the next precip, big weather system for the Easter weekend on Sunday and into Monday with more precip. Could be significant snowfall, probably somewhere in the region, so keep an eye on that. It could really be anywhere in the state, but right now the best chances would be in northwestern parts of Michigan to see significant snowfall. There will be more freezing temperatures here tonight. Also, the colder night probably will be tomorrow night, Friday night into Saturday morning. We'll see 20s in many areas of the state. And then again next week, anytime we get relatively clear and calm conditions, also expect freezing temperatures overnight for there as well. So that's in a nutshell here. Big change. We'll be looking for a pattern change, but right now probably not, at least until the third week, maybe even to the fourth week of April. That's all I've got. Anybody have any questions this morning?